Hi everyone, my name's Emma. Today we're talking about how to overcome being wrong, how to deal with it, how to learn from it. And we're going to do that by looking at something that we all had to face when we were younger. When it comes to choices and decisions, the ones that we make with more intention, by understanding the consequences of those choices will help us lead a better life for ourselves and the planet. When we were all younger, we all had to take tests. Now, I know you don't want to think about it, but just bear with me for a few minutes while we delve into how did we feel when we got those tests back. Oftentimes, it wasn't 100. I can probably count on one hand how many times I got a complete 100 on a test. And we can really deal with the grade that we did get in one of two ways. We could ignore it, not look at it, just move forward and be like, I don't even want to look at the test. I hated the test. I didn't do well. I don't care. I'm not looking at it. Or we could open the test, look through the test, see where we went wrong. Maybe the teacher left some comments, maybe some kind of indication of where we could have gone in the right direction, but because we made a simple mistake here, it brought us to the wrong answer. And we can look at that and we can be like, oh, I did know that. I think in that moment I just forgot about it. And it's okay. We make these mistakes, but maybe looking through this test, it'll give you some better techniques to move forward. Maybe the teacher was able to show you a quicker way to get to an answer, or you go to the teacher after school and you say, hey, I got these wrong. I don't really understand why. Can you help me out? So there's those different ways to deal with it. You go to somebody else, you ask them how they did it. If they got it right, how did they do it? You realize, oh, I made a mistake here. I could do this next time to prevent that. Or you come up with, if you ran out of time on the test, you could come up with different ways to deal with timing out managing your time, right? And there's so many different ways to deal with it. And any of those ways of trying to learn what you did wrong, trying to prepare yourself for the next test by looking at, you have a moment of time where you made these mistakes, and you'll probably continue to make them if you don't address them, if you don't understand why. So that the next time you have a test, whether it's on a similar subject or one completely different, you now have worked out some techniques that will help you on this next test. You've talked to a teacher about maybe this is the type of thinking that would be helpful. This is the type of way to deal with the questions. Maybe there's a strategy to go through the test. Do the ones that you know the answer to, and then go back to the ones that you don't, right? So we have moments in our lives where we just cannot be right all the time, right? And those tests were either something that we were upset about for a very long time, or we saw it as a learning opportunity. It's not easy to get a test back that you studied really, really hard for. You thought you were going to do amazing, and then you didn't get the grade that you wanted. But if we treat life that way, if we're like, oh, just so disappointed, and then don't even want to dive into it, understand what happened, and then that could help us to get the grade that we want next time, we're doing ourselves a disservice. And now we can take a step back and look at all these other things that happen in our lives. Sometimes we misspeak, we say something wrong, and we can either see it as the opportunity to learn something, to make sure that we don't make that mistake again. And then if we do make that mistake again, see why it keeps happening. We can start to see patterns. We can start to understand what is going on. Why is this happening? Why is this pattern continuing? What am I doing, or what can I do to change the outcome of the situation next time it comes up? So now we have a time in our life where, we dealt with being wrong. Can't be right 100% of the time, and most of the time you won't be right. You'll never know the complete and accurate choice to make until you make a choice, you deal with the consequences, and then you shift and you keep taking in, analyzing, and then changing accordingly. With more data that we have, the more information we have, the more we can continue to adjust our plan and our direction and our perspective until we continue to be more aligned with what we should be doing. And a lot of the times we overburden ourselves with making mistakes. And we need to also understand that our choices are not us. The choices that we make are not a direct reflection of our worthiness as a human being. We are worthy of feeling safe, of being alive, and having the resources that we need to create a life where we feel whole and complete, and understanding that we are abundant and grateful and all of these amazing things. The choices that we make are something that we can make, meaning that if you made a choice that you didn't like today, you can make another choice that is more aligned with what you do want to do. But you won't know until you make a choice. Until you decide one or the other, you won't know the outcome. And there is no way that we can feel safe in just not making choices, because then we won't ever actually feel in control. We think that we're making ourselves feel like we're in control when we don't make decisions, but actually it's the opposite. When you know more, you can then make better choices and better decisions and get closer to doing the things that you want to do. If we overburden ourselves with, I was wrong, I can never be right again, this person had to correct me, this happened, I'm such a bad person, we take what happens and scale it to a level that it never existed on. If you accidentally knock into somebody, or if you misspeak, if you say these things, if you make a big mistake, you make a small mistake, those are just choices, and you can always choose something else. You can always pivot and be in the right direction, but you won't know which direction you should be in unless you just pick and then adjust accordingly. It's really it. And that's what you had to do when you were in school. If you wanted to do better in school, you figured out different ways to do it. You looked at the lessons of, okay, well, I should study more. I should go to the teacher for extra help. I should take my time. I shouldn't rush through these things. I should actually double check my work and follow through. And the thing is, the rest of life isn't this timed test. You don't know how much time you get. So we shouldn't act as if we need to figure it all out right now. We can make a choice, we can make a mistake. As long as we keep learning from them and adjusting, we'll be fine, and that's okay. That's the point of life. We were able to do it when we were younger on those tests, and we can continue to do it. And lessons don't have to just be from your own mistakes. You can look at entertainment. You can look at what other people have messed up on and talk about, and really take lessons from everywhere, because they exist all around us, and we need to become more comfortable with being wrong, because only then can we truly understand the importance of continuing to try, and that it's okay if you are wrong, but what's not okay is stopping there and to dwell on it and to never make amends with that. Redemption is all of ours if we choose to accept that into our lives, but we can't do that if we define ourselves by our mistakes, by our choices. And to define ourselves is to limit ourselves, and we cannot be defined by small things like that. We're so much greater as being alive and human, and understanding that there is always hope if there is life. And as long as we understand that, we can continue to move forward. Every lesson becomes just a little bit more easily able to be dealt with if we look at life that way, if we accept life for what it is, that we make mistakes, and that's what makes us a living, breathing human, a person who is able to embody the good, the bad, the harsh, the amazing, all at the same time. And that's why the word human to me has always defined who I am. It's really embodies everything that we can be and can ever hope to be. And that we need to be accepting of us being wrong, accepting of others being wrong, and allowing them space to learn from it, to help them if they need it, and to understand that we all make choices based off of the society that we live in. And if we are unable to overcome that, if we're not given the space to learn for ourselves, to understand for ourselves, and we're forced to take on an image that we no longer feel that applies to us, if we force somebody's past to only ever be that person, we don't allow them to grow. We don't allow ourselves to grow, and we need to keep growing and to keep expanding our views and perspectives, and to understand we're not always going to be right. And that's okay. We just need to learn that being wrong is not something that is forever. It's only what you make it, and that's really most of life as well. So I hope you got something out of this video today. I will see you soon. But until then, have an amazing day.